Hello, everyone, and welcome to a happy 2019.
Oh, it is happy. I feel great right now. And here's another episode of Gaming Weekly starting right now.
Do we have an intro? Anyway, today we have a huge Blizzard breakdown. The question is, are they dying?
No.
And is everything on fire?
What? Probably not. And you need to chill out, guys. What's your problem?
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh, all right. And I mean, that's fair. We'll also be talking about some of our favorite games from 2018. That's last year. And what we think people kind of missed out on. But first, let's talk about this Blizzard story.
Yeah, since Diablo Immortal was controversially revealed back in November, bloggers and tube lords have been decrying the death of Blizzard.
We're tube lords. You can't boo us. Yeah, I mean, you're making a game for the current most profitable market in the entire games industry. You're screwed, Blizzard.
Right, but on top of announcing a mobile game, a bunch of interesting shit has been going down at Blizzard over the last 6 months, and Activision Blizzard stocks are down another 10% after a pretty steady decline since the start of October. That amounts to a 26% total drop in stock price in 2018. That's really
Stop
bad.
booing over
That is
there.
really bad for them.
The internet is taking that to mean the flurry of angry comments they threw at Blizzard developers really did make an impact. But the truth is probably a lot less dramatic. I mean, negative comments do destroy us on a daily basis, but large corporations are probably a completely different story.
Yeah, so let's break down the story a bit and see what it means from a business perspective rather than a YouTube comment section one. Please don't be mean to us.
Stop being mean.
Please don't be mean.
This is why I lose sleep at night. So first up, yes, Blizzard stock fell and they failed to meet most of their revenue estimates for the year. They predicted their fourth quarter revenue to be $3.05 billion, so a little over $3 billion. That's a lot of fucking money.
It is, yeah.
They missed their estimates of $3.06 billion.
Ooh.
Poor Blizzard.
Only 3.05 billion, huh? How will they survive?
God, they're so rich.
Yeah, they are.
I guess, yeah, no more free massage Wednesdays. And they'll have to sell the Over yacht.
Well, that's a good yacht Overwatch pun. But really, they didn't make as much money as they expected to. That is a reality, and that's always bad for stocks. They weren't dramatically short, but any shortfall is enough to bother investors. They're really skittish.
They really are.
Yeah, they really are.
Their active monthly users were down by 2 million too.
Oh, wow.
Why do we think that happened though? Was it because of the Hearthstone players who were so disgusted by Diablo Immortal that they rage uninstalled the game? Is that a thing?
Probably not. It's probably just that Activision Blizzard didn't release many products in 2018.
Yeah.
Looking over the list, it was actually really surprising. There was only one game release across the whole of Activision and Blizzard that wasn't a re-release or an expansion in the whole year, and that was Black Ops 4. Because obviously there was Spyro, there was Crash, Forsaken, Azeroth, Diablo 3 on Switch, so there was stuff, but there wasn't anything new, anything that was gonna like push people to be using Battle.net.
Wait, you said Call of Duty came out 2018. I thought you said no remakes came out.
I'm not going to do it. I won't do it.
Cut that from the show.
Black Ops 4 did sell really well, but it didn't sell as quickly as Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which Activision's execs probably care about.
They do.
But yeah, with just one game release across both companies, of course, their active users weren't that hot, and Red Dead 2 came out, so that affected quite a few people.
True, but then even after all of that came out, Blizzard announced that the Heroes of the Storm Global Championship would be discontinued. And a bunch of devs were moved to work on another unannounced game.
Does this mean Blizzard hates their fans and Heroes of the Storm is a failure and everything's going up in flames?
Again, probably not anything that dramatic. It's probably fine. It's just a priority shift for one of their least popular esports and least popular games overall. It's likely devs being moved to work on Diablo 4, which we should probably be happy about.
We are. I'm very happy about that.
So regarding this one, Blizzard's president, Jay Allen Brack, and chief development officer, Ray Gresco, wrote, "The love that the community has for these programs is deeply felt by everyone who works on them, but we ultimately feel this is the right decision versus moving forward in a way that would not meet the standards that players and fans have come to expect." But they did also say they'll keep supporting the game. So.
That's good.
All right, yeah, okay. But flash forward to the end of December, it was announced that over 100 staff at Blizzard's Entertainment Cork office in Ireland were leaving as part of a voluntary program. Yeah, so basically they weren't fired, they could just take the money and leave.
It's actually really interesting. Blizzard had offered that to the Cork office multiple times and increased the offer every time. It ended up being basically a year's pay to leave, which is amazing. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's an insane severance package.
And naturally that raises concerns about Blizzard's financial position, or makes it seem like layoffs were inevitable otherwise, but is it a long-standing program the company offers at various locations across the world, they say.
I guess that's pretty cool. I'd never heard of that.
It's really strange.
Fire yourself.
It's offering people a certain amount of money to leave the company so that they don't have to fire them, and most of them try not to, but then they just kept increasing the offer. It's really interesting. It should be mentioned that office is mostly customer service as well. It's not like it's dev teams, but yeah, regarding that one, Blizzard's statement said, this program, which has proven popular in the past, gives eligible staff the option to make the most of incentives while proactively pursuing other career opportunities. No one is required or encouraged to participate in this program, but for those who do, we work hard to make it generous.
That's awesome. Yeah, and now to bring it back to 2019, with another weird and possibly troubling story, Blizzard fired its chief financial officer, Spencer Newman, for an unspecified reason on December 31st, 2018. So they stated that the firing is unrelated to the company's financial reporting or disclosure controls and procedures. So on January 2nd, only 2 days later, Netflix hires Newman to be their new chief financial officer.
I would find it very hard to believe that it had nothing to do with the money they didn't make.
Yeah.
There are a couple ways to see this if you want to build the narrative that Blizzard is in trouble. Maybe Activision is trying to install more of their own management at Blizzard, so they're pushing former executives out.
Yeah.
Could be a very good story. Or current and longtime executives of Blizzard don't like the direction the company's taking, so they're bailing ship, which could also be very true.
And as always, we did some actual investigating, some journalism, if you will, and we have some exclusive info on this one.
All right, so now this is a rumor, but word is that Newman, the former Blizzard CFO, was taking interviews at Netflix while on paid leave from Blizzard. We don't know why he was on paid leave in the first place, but it's typically a bad look to be interviewing around while you're on a company's payroll. It sends a message that you're not invested in your current job, and from the sounds of it, Blizzard made the decision for Newman and fired him on the spot.
Granted, if this rumor isn't true, firing someone so high up raises a bunch of red flags. Either he did something wrong, or he's leading Blizzard in a direction they can't afford to be in.
So we reached out to Wedbush Securities Equity Research Managing Director Michael Pachter to see what he thought about this one, and he said, the CFO departure is definitely unrelated to any of that, or to any core issues. Rather, I'm sure he considered Netflix to be a better opportunity. It is most certainly a responsible position with $13 billion of content spending each year for this foreseeable future. I don't think Blizzard is struggling per se, but they have seen revenues plateau, and they need to accelerate their development plans. The days of it's coming when it's ready, as they always used to say, are probably over.
So maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle of the two sides here. Blizzard isn't doomed, but they are changing as a company into what we'll have to see, I guess.
Yeah, on that note, our resident guy who cares way too much about video games has a message for you guys. Lawrence, come on up here.
So yeah, disclaimer off the top, currently dating somebody that works at Blizzard. Depending on how you choose, that sways my opinion. Thing is, I've been playing Blizzard games longer than I've been dating this person, so I've chosen my allegiance here. So to get started, so I've been bummed out, honestly, by what I've seen in the news cycle lately regarding Blizzard. So I just want to get some stuff off my chest here. Let me start by saying I get it. Okay, I get all of it. Blizzard's Diablo Immortal announcement sucked. It wasn't done well. Blizzard primed their core audience to expect Diablo news, and instead of Diablo 4, it's some China money cash grab mobile game trash. Plus, that's all? I mean, Warcraft 3 Reforged is cool, I guess, but still that taste lingers. It makes you scared. And then once your mind is on something, you start seeing it everywhere. You start thinking your boyfriend or girlfriend is cheating on you, and then every time they look at their phone, you know there's some dick and tit pics flying around. So, I don't work at Blizzard, and I don't have insider knowledge, but I have been playing their games for a long-ass time. I've also been following the company for most of that time because I'm a big-ass dork that way. So maybe I can provide some perspective here. This has happened before, bizarrely. I freaked out in 2008. When Vivendi merged with Activision to create Activision Blizzard. I figured that was the end of them. It wasn't then, and I still believe it's not now, at least not yet. If you look back the last few years, there's way more reason to have faith in Blizzard than to think everything's suddenly gone to shit. And bear in mind, all of this came after Activision supposedly took control of the company. So you have StarCraft 2. They made 3 full AAA PC-only RTS games well after that was even an established market. It's madness. So you have Overwatch. This is their first ever first-person shooter. Not only really fun to play, it's super challenging, very well balanced, and it has loot boxes that aren't terrible. Ridiculous! Diablo 3, okay, rough start on that one, but they kept supporting the game, they removed the auction house, continued adding content, and now it's a really awesome game. Redeemed! So I don't play Hearthstone because Magic the Gathering got me back in the day, but people like it. Cards! And there's Heroes of the Storm. They made a MOBA that didn't compel you to buy all the characters a la carte, which is a huge microtransaction thing in League of Legends. Also was fun and not elitist bait. So I get how Diablo Immortal may seem like the end of Blizzard being a warm and fuzzy developer, or at least the start of the end. Everything about it reeks of a cash grab, right? And that's what everybody's really sensitive about now. But hopefully Hearthstone and Overwatch show that Blizzard can navigate the microtransaction era of gaming just fine. Immortal may not be for you, that's fine too. Hearthstone smelled like a cash grab to me, I just don't play it. Others do, they like it. That's probably how Immortal will shake out. But out of every developer you trust to do mobile the right way, wouldn't Blizzard be at the top of that list? So I get concerns about Blizzard entering the mobile space. To me, it just makes sense to withhold judgment until Blizzard announces what the monetization model will be. And apart from that, maybe give it a shot. I played it at BlizzCon and it was fun. It felt like Diablo, and that demo was better than any game I have on my phone right now. It's just a bunch of gacha crap. And like a little puzzle game, it's pretty cool. Anyway, so Blizzard chasing mobile China money isn't the only problem with this, right? This is about roots, you know? PC master racists out there are kind of pissed that the company is moving away from its core as a PC developer, which makes sense, but also doesn't. There aren't a lot of PC forward devs out there today, so we gotta, grab the ones we have and just hold on to them and nuzzle them real tight. If CD Projekt Red announced they were making a Witcher mobile game, people would probably be pretty pissed off, and I get that.
Kinda did for Gwent.
That's true, but cards are a different story. I don't
Yeah.
know. If it was like, well, and Bethesda did it with Elder Scrolls.
Fallout as well. Mm-hmm. They've done it.
Yeah, but it's all spin-offs, not
Yeah.
main things. So Blizzard going mobile only with Immortal sounds like a double dose of Activision bullshit, but Blizzard actually isn't as PC only as a lot of people think they are. Which is weird, people kind of forgot about this. 1994's The Death and Return of Superman never came to PC, same with 95's Justice League Task Force, and 93's Rock and Roll Racing. Their first game, 1991's RPM Racing, was only on Super Nintendo. I know these are old-ass projects. The point is Blizzard had eras where they were not PC forward before, and they made games for other platforms, and those games were really good. Death and Return of Superman is awesome. You can play Cyborg Superman and throw people off buildings and shoot lasers out of your eyes. It's cool, you should check it out. Anyway, I'm not here saying that if you're concerned or upset about Blizzard that you're an entitled gamer or whatever. We all have the right to express ourselves online and say what we want out of the market. That's not being entitled. Maybe a little rude depending on how you do it, but not entitled. Just realize that it's in many people's best interest to weave a narrative that speaks to your fears. And in my opinion, that's what's going on right now. YouTubers and bloggers are stringing together a lot of disconnected business news to create some doom and gloom that's awfully clickable. And this is all coming from people who aren't business people, so keep that in mind. Try to remember that Blizzard is full of the same people right now that have made the games we've all loved for decades. Mike Morhaime is gone, so this is a period of transition. Some things may change. The rest of the company is still there. I guess the CFO isn't, but the dev teams are. These are the same people and the same processes that have made some of the best games ever, and they're still in place, at least for now. Now, obviously, this is all speculation. We have no hard data that Blizzard is still on the right track. Then again, we have no hard data they're on the wrong track either. And in the absence of first-hand information, I say we fall back on what we know. Blizzard has released amazing titles for decades, and there's still plenty of reason to believe that Blizzard is that developer we've all loved. So have some faith. There's no reason to despair until there's a reason to despair, and I don't, come on. We haven't seen that reason yet, not yet.
Let me despair!
Well, if you really need to. Listen, if Immortal comes out and it's a trash garbage loaded with shitty microtransactions, then I'll pour one out for Blizzard along with everyone else. Until then, keep the faith. There are teams at Blizzard that have been working really quietly for a while, so I have a feeling we'll be seeing something cool at BlizzCon this year. Let's stay tuned for that, and keep heart. Do that little thing. All right, so moving on from Blizzard's sort of non-breakdown, we wanted to highlight some of the best games we played in 2018 that we felt were overlooked in case you're looking for some sleeper hits to play. And because we like them, we want to support them. Alana, what is yours?
I wanted to talk about Return of the Obra Dinn. So, Return of the Obra Dinn is a game from the studio that made Papers, Please, which is also awesome. But it's basically this puzzle game where a pirate ship that was believed to be lost comes back into the world, and you have to figure out how every single person on it died. And there are a lot of people, and it's basically like, you know those puzzles? It's like they have this person won't sit next to this person. I don't know how to describe them. You have to describe who people are and what they're interested in based on like a series of clues. It's like that, but in a video game, so it's visual. So you're watching all of these different people show up in scenes, and you have to try to identify their faces, and it's really slowly over time. You have to be like, okay, that guy was also in that scene when that guy got shot. So you get on this ship and you have the compass and this compass, and when you walk over to someone, you find all their dead bodies. It replays how they died, basically, in the dialogue before they died. And it's just like the process of narrowing down how every single one of these people came to die, how the ship disappeared out of nowhere, and how they all kind of turned against each other. It was this huge international ship with all these different people. It's $20. It runs on anything. You can play it on a MacBook, and it downloads in 10 minutes. It probably took me, I did it just this morning to capture, and it took me probably a minute. So yeah, it's really easy to play, just a really tough puzzle game that I very much enjoyed. It's very creative.
Adam, what about you?
I'm late to the party, but I finally got around to playing Hollow Knight, which came out, I want to say in PC 2017 or 2016, and finally came to Switch in 2017 in February. I finally got around to it, playing it last year. It is one of my favorite games. I typically don't finish games, especially now that I'm just older and I don't really have time, and I'm just playing like ongoing games like Destiny or Overwatch or something. And I've just been getting really tired of online multiplayer games. So this was like a really nice change of pace of like, play it on the toilet, play it on a plane, play it in bed, play it in your living room. That's, I think, actually one of the greatest things about the Switch. It's being able to be versatile with a game like that. And I probably wouldn't finish it had I not had that. And it's not a game that holds your hand. It's also beautiful, has a great soundtrack, and they're still adding to it today. So I know I'm late to the party, but holy shit, if you haven't checked out Hollow Knight yet, you should go play that game.
Yeah.
Very good.
Mine is obviously not an indie game at all. It's Battlefield 5.
That's indie.
But nobody's playing it. I know everybody hates EA and they should all die, blah, blah, blah. But Battlefield 5 is probably the best squad-based multiplayer shooter I've ever played. If you have a squad of 3 or 4 people and you're all working together, you're going to do great. And you're going to really enjoy what you're doing because of all of the revival techniques and all the different class-based stuff that you're doing in Battlefield. What's up?
I'll try again.
I mean, you don't have to. You really don't have to try it.
I'll
And
try it.
I know it's on discount now too, so like it's like somewhere between 30 and 40 bucks.
Yeah.
I think it's totally worth it.
What's the argument for Battlefield 5 over Call of Duty?
I don't know that there is an argument, to be honest with you. I think they're both so different.
Yeah, they're more different now than they've ever been.
Depends
Yeah.
what you want.
Because I've been playing both a lot, and Black Ops 4 is fucking awesome, but Battlefield 5 is a totally different game, and getting yourself into that Battlefield mindset, which has sort of, you're watching them diverge even more now, is something that you just, if you like it, you're really going to love Battlefield 5, but nobody's giving it a chance.
But you need 3 other friends who also really give a shit and
That's the
want
problem,
to
yeah.
play together, and it's hard to find a good squad in that game.
It is, it's very hard.
I wonder if the release schedule was part of that.
Absolutely. They fucked up everything when it came to Battlefield 5. Like, they really did, and I'm a huge Battlefield fan. They fucked it all up. But once I got into playing the game, I was like, wow, this game is great. So, Lawrence, what about you?
Mine is, so there recently has been a bit of hubbub in the indie scene about a game called Dusk. The same publisher put out a game earlier in 2018 called Medieval, which is similar vibes, except if Dusk is sort of the modern Heretic, this is the modern Hexen. So it's kind of like mystical and magical and shit, and there's like wands and staffs and stuff, but it's the same kind of old school shooter that's been brushed up for the modern era. The levels are all huge, they're really good looking. It's got that weird like retro but modern aesthetic about it, where it looks really cool. It's just super fun to play. Levels are big, it's fun to explore, bosses are huge. Just that old thing, and like the music stings are pretty good. It's just a fun game to play, it's well made, the map design is great. I recommend it. For a lot of people I think are on Dusk right now, so if you finish that off, please go check out Medieval. It's basically the same thing, but more of it. Good stuff.
And with that wraps up our first Gaming Weekly of 2019, everyone. We did it.
All right, see you next week. We'll be back.
Cursor! Mouse cursor! Holy shit!
Whoa, is there a mouse cursor?
Ah!
Where?
Not anymore.
I got you, viewers. I know you were freaking out about that.
What was he talking about?
I think it's on the B-roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
I thought he had a stroke.
But yeah, for starters, reports say that playing online is just fundamentally laggy, which is probably the worst thing an online experience could be. Longtime Smash Pro and occasional hyper troll Leffen tweeted that the game, quote, has perhaps the worst online matchmaking / netcode of any AAA game for its time ever.
Wow, man, I dunked on that
Big
real hard.
What does for its time ever mean?
I think it